Most people moving to Austin spend thousands of dollars on scouting trips, but end up picking the wrong suburb. But in today's video, I'm giving you the ultimate shortcut. We're going to be breaking down the Austin suburbs by price, distance to Austin, and who exactly is moving to these suburbs so you can find your perfect neighborhood without even having to make a trip to Austin, Texas. If you are interested in moving to Austin, Texas, I would love to provide you with my free resources. My phone number is up on the screen in the description below. I help people just like you move to Austin. So reach out to me. We can jump on the phone and discuss everything you are looking for. Now, one of the first things you're gonna notice is that Austin is not very big, right? So when you compare it to other cities such as Houston or Dallas, you're gonna have not as many suburbs to choose from. So if you have the analysis paralysis, don't worry, Austin is pretty easy to break it down. So let's start on the south side right here. So we're gonna go ahead and draw, and I'm gonna talk about these two suburbs being Buda and 𝐾𝐨. Now I sort of group these in together because they're both growing at a very similar pace. And one of the things you're gonna notice if we zoom in here is that both of them are a pretty short distance to downtown Austin, right? So I believe Buda is gonna be about 20 minutes and 𝐾𝐨 is gonna be about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on the traffic. One of the things you need to be cautious about down here is that if you were going to be taking a road to get into Austin, especially if you work downtown, you are going to be taking I-35. Now, this gets really congested in the morning times, especially in this area right here. It can get really backed up because of the construction that is currently going on down there. So just keep that in mind, because the flip side is, although there can be traffic, you are going to be closer to what downtown has to offer. The other thing that is big down here in both of 𝐾𝐨 and Buda is going to be the price points. Down here, you can easily find a brand new home in the 200s and $300,000 price point. And we're not talking about just single story options. I mean, some areas up in here or out this way, there's some new communities that have master plan amenities, brand new 2-story options in the 300s. So you're getting a killer deal. Now, the people typically moving out here are going to be families looking for a new home that is relatively close to Austin. Again, you're about 30 minutes if you choose what 𝐾𝐨 has to offer. And Buda is just going to be a tad bit closer for you guys. But these families want to be close without having to pay a bunch of money. And that is really why they're choosing 𝐾𝐨 and Buda over some of the upper suburbs. All right, and if we jump over to the next suburbs, I'm going to be talking about Manor and Elgin, right? So this area up over here on the east side of Austin. Now, to me, these are pretty similar to 𝐾𝐨 and Buda, but there's really only one major thing that is a bit different, and that is going to be the development. So if we zoom out or zoom in, excuse me, you're going to see that Manor is getting pretty developed right now, but there still isn't a ton of development out this way. And Elgin is a very small town charm. There's not a whole lot out here. So if you decide to live in Elgin, then typically you're going to be driving to what Manor has to offer, or both of them might even drive up to what Pflugerville has to offer, because Pflugerville is going to be more developed. So that's going to be one of the big differences between Manor and Elgin versus 𝐾𝐨 and Buda. Home prices are roughly the same. Buda is going to be a bit more expensive, but the development in 𝐾𝐨 and Buda is a lot more than what Manor and Elgin has to offer. Now, people moving out this way, they really like Manor because of that distance to Austin, right? I mean, I believe it's about a 20-minute drive. So you're super close to Austin. Mueller is over, over here as well. So you're really close to it. And I've seen a lot of people move out this way, especially younger people, in their mid to late 20s, in their 30s, because Manor and Elgin both offer some pretty affordable options. I mean, I just went out and toured a community in Elgin that has price points in the high 200s and 2 stories in the high 300s. So you can easily come in here and get an incredible deal. But the big thing is the only major downside, in my personal opinion, is this road right here, and it's 2 lanes until it gets to a 3 lane, but you're hitting a bunch of lights. So during rush hour, this can get really hectic. So if you do work from home, or you have to go into the office just maybe a couple of times a week, I think Manor and Elgin are both great options. And people who want to live in Manor but might be priced out typically will go 10 to 15 minutes to Elgin because you can get a bigger home for a more affordable price. So those are kind of the main reasons why people are choosing those areas. Now, if we jump up north, this is typically where relocation buyers are primarily choosing. And the big reason for that one is the schools up here. The schools up here and the development. And so I'm going to kind of group a lot of these together. Um, so if we talk about kind of the main areas that people are moving to, you have Leander, Liberty Hill, Georgetown, Round Rock, Cedar Park, and Hutto. So these are kind of the main areas, and I know it's a lot, but there's a big reason as to why so many people are moving up here, and it's why most of my clients are wanting to choose up here in this area. So the first thing is going to be the schools. So when you go on a website like 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭, you can see the different schools ratings. Cedar Park and Round Rock and Leander are consistently ranking in about the top 5 with all of Austin districts, and these are going to be 4 public schools. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons. The other big reason, you can see from this North Austin area all the way up and around this like loop right here is very, very developed. You're getting a lot of new development coming out to Leander, to Georgetown, especially in Hutto. Round Rock is pretty developed, but they have a new development called the District that is going to be incredible. You also have the Domain right here, which is another big reason why people are choosing the north side. And honestly, probably the biggest reason for most people is if it's not the schools, then it's going to be the fact that up in Round Rock and kind of like right in this area, if up in here is going to be a lot of the major tech companies, right? I mean, we're talking about Apple, Dell, Samsung is a little bit further out, but you know, most people that work in tech are commuting to the north side. So if you were in the tech field, then you know you're going to be having to commute if you were wanting to choose Buda or Kyle all the way up to the north side here in Round Rock. And that drive is a pain, especially during rush hours. And we don't even have as much traffic as the cities of Houston or Dallas, but Austin can still get hectic during those rush hours. Why a lot of people are deciding to choose what the north side has to offer. So, I mean, between the schools, the development, you're going to have the Round Rock premium outlets, you're going to have the Georgetown downtown. Liberty Hill just got the biggest Target and a massive Costco. So all of the major development is really coming out here. Leander's getting a brand new uh, development out here with residential, commercial, everything, retail space, restaurants, shopping. Cedar Park has Lakeline Mall that has a ton of options for you to shop at. So Cedar Park and Round Rock are definitely going to be the most developed, and pricing around these areas really ranges. So if you were looking at a place like, you know, Leander, you're going to be sitting at about 400 to 500,000 for kind of a basic home. Most of the time, Leander is going to be up in that price point of about, I would probably say maybe 700,000 to about 1 million plus. Cedar Park is going to be roughly the same way. For new construction, you're going to be looking at about $800,000 plus, but Cedar Park is geared more towards the resale options. Round Rock is pretty similar to Cedar Park in my opinion. You're going to have new homes. Some there are in the 400s and 500,000, but for the most part, they are going to be resale, and the new homes are going to be about 7 to 900,000. Georgetown and Liberty Hill are two great options because you can still find homes in the 300s and they're brand new in great communities. So a lot of people that chose Leander, say a few years ago, are either moving out of Leander to Georgetown or Liberty Hill, a little bit more peace and quiet. Just because Leander is extremely developed, and you can see Liberty Hill hasn't been as developed. That is, from what I've heard, that is supposed to be sort of the next hotspot. And Georgetown is pretty developed, but they have a lot of land out this way to continue to go. And then if we talk about Hutto is another area where you can find some great master plan communities out this way. Hutto downtown is really cool. They are growing as well like crazy, and you can even find homes in that $200,000 and $300,000 price point. So I'm seeing a lot of families move out this way. People who work in tech are primarily moving out this way. Young professionals are moving out this way. If you don't really value downtown and you prefer to go to maybe what Georgetown has to offer, here in their downtown area, or Hutto, Round Rock, or the Domain, then typically most people are choosing the north side for a lot of these reasons. And I would say it's by far the number one spot when it comes to people that are actually relocating to Austin. We can even go a little bit further, and not too many people are choosing these areas yet, but you have areas like Salado, Jarrell, and Taylor. These are three that, don't have a ton of development out here just yet. You can kind of see, if we zoom in here, that Jarrell really only has a couple communities, but not a whole lot of commercial development is out this way just yet. And it's the same with Salado. To be honest, Salado has they have a half-acre community by D.R. Horton and another 1-acre community by semi-custom home builder. But you are going to be a bit closer to Temple, Killeen as well. So if you are a VA home buyer, these are some great options for you to choose from. And then Taylor is a bit similar, going to have a more small town vibe out this way. Home prices out here are really, really affordable. So if you're looking to be a bit further out and want to pay around the $200,000 price point or the low threes, Taylor is a great option. Samsung is out here as well. You're only about 15 minutes from Georgetown, not too far from Hutto or Round Rock either. So to be honest, these areas are a bit slept on, but a lot of people just aren't choosing them right now because there really isn't that much development out here just yet. That is primarily going to be the north side and the north, like west side area. Now, if we zoom out here and I go ahead and show you guys the main areas, right? So you have the north, you have the east, Manor, Elgin, and then if we come down here, Buda and 𝐾𝐨. These are going to be, your typical master plan communities, and where most of the times families and maybe first-time home buyers are moving. But you have that price point of, I'd say, about $1 million plus, then you're pretty much going to choose areas like Lakeway, Steiner Ranch, and Bee Cave, even Dripping Springs. These, even Spicewood is another one. It's a little bit further out, but the west side is definitely where a lot more of the luxury buyers go. So again, that $1 million price point. Now, out here, you're gonna notice there is the water out this way. So that is kind of the big draw to this area. You can see the Colorado River coming through all the way here. So, if you're wanting a home on or near the water, or with probably the best views in all of Austin, then Bee Cave, Steiner Ranch is right up in here. Lakeway, Spicewood, Dripping Springs is another great one. Bee Cave and Lakeway are gonna, even Spicewood is gonna offer the hill country, the water views. Typically homes out here are gonna be about 1.2 upwards, easily finding homes, the $2, $3, $4, $5 million price tag. These are going to be more custom homes, much more detailed. They do have only a few master plan communities. I think they really only have maybe 1 or 2 out this way right now. But you can find, like in Bee Cave and Lakeway, they do have gated communities. So if you are looking for a bit more security, you want a home about that $1.5 million price tag, then Lakeway, Bee Cave, Steiner Ranch is great. Now, for new construction, Lakeway and Bee Cave and Spicewood are going to be your best bets. Steiner Ranch is going to be They only have one new construction community, and it's pretty small. You're going to be about $2 to $3 million. But resale homes are great in Steiner Ranch. This is by far one of the nicest areas. The other thing, people moving out here, it's typically families just because of that higher price tag. So you're not really going to see first-time home buyers moving out this way. People out here, might be retired or work remotely, and they might be higher up in their company to afford homes out this way. The schools also out here are typically top-notch. Lakeway, Bee Cave, these areas are constantly ranking in that top 3 area for the school district. And then you're going to be, depending on if you were to choose Lakeway, Bee Cave, Steiner Ranch, you're typically about 25 to 40 minutes away from what Austin has to offer. So great location. This is by far the most popular if you have that price point. But again, most people don't have that price point. So they typically will shift their focus more towards like Cedar Park, Leander, Liberty Hill, Georgetown, and Round Rock. But to me, if you are looking for views, this area is going to be by far the best area for you guys. And then lastly, coming down here, Dripping Springs, Driftwood. These areas are great if you have a bit of a higher price point, but you're looking to be, more so away from what Austin has. You can see how far it is. It's not like super far. I think you're going to be about 40 to 45 minutes from Austin, but homes out here, if you are looking for 1 acre or more lots, more custom homes, more peace and quiet, definitely Dripping Springs and Driftwood are two incredible places. I actually love it out here, just because it's very unique to what the rest of Austin, all these other areas that we've talked about, north, east, and south, are going to be your typical master plan communities, the new construction, but more so on the west side where we've been talking about Lakeway, Bee Cave, Steiner Ranch, and Dripping Springs. It's a bit different. You have acre lots, you have hill country views, water views. So, and Dripping Springs is pretty small. Like, it is developed, but it's still a pretty small town. And the schools out here are actually really good as well. So those are going to be kind of the areas from the west. Again, most of the time you're going to be about that $1 million price tag and up. Schools out here are incredible, and most people moving out here are going to be, people who work remotely or have families and are focused more on schools. Gonna have more gated communities out this way. But it's still an incredible option for you guys, just depending on, what you're looking at. If you're looking at, the communities out this way being higher price point, then I definitely recommend, being on the west side, out here in Lakeway, Bee Cave, Dripping Springs. You work remotely and you want something, a bit more affordable, or you go into the office on the south side of Austin. Kyle and Buda are great. Manor and Elgin, very similar to Kyle and Buda, just a little bit less development, but still on the affordable side. Being about 25 minutes away from what Austin has to offer are awesome. And then, the north side covers a lot of growth development. You're going to have a ton of the top suburbs up this way. All the development you can see is really starting to push towards this north side, up into Georgetown and past Georgetown and into Liberty Hill. So these are kind of the main areas. If you have a price point of about 400, even 350 to about $1 million+ north side of Austin is typically where most of the relocation buyers are coming, especially those schools. So that is kind of Austin in a whole. All of the different suburbs offer something different. So it really just depends exactly what you guys are looking for. And I would love to be that free resource for you. So if you are interested and want my help, my phone number is going to be on the screen or in the description below for you guys. Reach out to me. I would love to help you guys. And click this next video right here to see some other top suburbs that are going to be affordable for you.